Today on Cozy Peach Kitchen, I'm showing you how to make homemade vegan potato soup. This soup is made in just one pot, really quick and easy to make, and it's super creamy thanks to coconut milk. We're going to be using Yukon Gold potatoes, which I love using because they don't need to be peeled. The skin is so thin that it kind of just comes off when it's boiling. So that's a great way to cut down on prep time there. We'll start by cutting these potatoes into wedges. They don't have to be too uniform because we are going to boil them and we're going to mash them up as well. So you can set those potatoes aside for now because we'll be using those later on in the recipe. Start by heating a Dutch oven or 6-quart pot over medium-high heat, and once that's hot, go ahead and add a tablespoon of vegan butter. You can also use olive oil here if you prefer something a little lighter. We'll be using the rest of this butter later. Once that butter is melted, go ahead and add the mirepoix, which is just a fancy / French way of saying onion, celery, and carrot. All of these are equal parts and finely chopped. Half cup of finely chopped celery, add a half cup of finely chopped carrot, and half cup of finely chopped onion. Sprinkle with a half teaspoon of salt and stir to combine. We'll cook this for 8 to 10 minutes or until the onions, carrots, and celery are softened and a little golden. That's softened up nicely, so I'll go ahead and add 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, if I can find it. This is just minced garlic. You can use less or more depending on how garlicky you like things, and I like things very garlicky, so I added 3 large cloves. And then we'll go ahead and saute that for another minute until that garlic is aromatic, smells really good, and golden. Once the garlic is ready, you can go ahead and add in the rest of that vegan butter. This is 2 tablespoons of vegan butter. You want that to melt. Next up, we are going to sprinkle in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour to make a roux. I know I said this was an easy recipe and I keep using French words like mirepoix and roux, but I promise that A, those are like the only French words I know, mostly, and B, it's just another way of saying an equal part of fat and flour, and this is what thickens up the soup. The potatoes do provide some of that thickness, but really the roux is adding a lot of it. And I will say you can use gluten-free flour here. I have tested this recipe with it. I just used an all-purpose gluten-free flour blend in equal amounts, and it came out wonderfully. So we're going to cook that for about a minute, which will cook off that flour taste. Now we will slowly pour in the vegetable broth while we whisk, and I use a silicone whisk so I don't scratch my pan. This is going to be overall 3 cups of vegetable broth. And I say slowly whisk it in because you are mixing liquid into flour, which can sometimes clump up. But if you go slowly and you just keep whisking, then you'll be fine. Just keep whisking. Just say that to yourself while you do it. Pour it all in. Go ahead and add that coconut milk in. And then we'll add in 1 teaspoon of soy sauce for a little bit of depth. So this is 2 pounds of potatoes. As you can see, they are just covered by the liquid. We're going to go ahead and bring this up to high heat, and once it's on high heat, it'll start to boil. Once it's boiling, reduce it a little back to a rapid simmer, and we'll simmer that for about 15 minutes or until those potatoes are soft and fork tender. I'm going to use a fork to check if it is actually fork tender. Oh yeah, so you can see that that fork pierced really easily into the potato. You can go ahead and mash those potatoes. You can also use an immersion blender if you prefer like a perfectly pureed potato soup. It's more of a cream of potato soup situation, but if that's what you want, cool. I'm just going to use this masher and go ahead and mash everything so that the potatoes are mostly mashed up. I like to leave a few pieces just for some texture, but the potato does contribute a lot to the body of the soup, so it's important to mash it up. Now that it's all mashed up to how I like it, I'm going to add nutritional yeast. This is 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, entirely optional, but it adds more to the body and it adds a little bit of cheesy umami flavor. You can go ahead and mix that in. And we'll also add freshly ground black pepper. I like to add a lot, but a quarter teaspoon is about how much is written in the recipe. And that's how you make vegan potato soup with coconut milk. This recipe is ready in just over 30 minutes, uses mostly pantry staples, and is really easy to make. I think you'll love it. If you want to see more recipes, definitely check out cozypeachkitchen.com, and don't forget to hit subscribe for new videos. Thanks for watching.